All right, music fans, welcome back. Harmless Dave here, talking real music in real time for a few real people out there, just like you and just like me. All right, Cross Country Driver, I've showcased this once before. This is the new truth, baby. Real rock and roll for real people like you and I. Um, yeah, it's just the old school 70s kind of thing going on here. If you like Aerosmith, the Black Crowes, stuff like that. Um, I'm thinking you'll like this. Well put together, clean sounding production, not overly compressed or produced. And yeah, I tend to gravitate towards stuff like that. It's kind of a slow day in the world of music, so I've decided to compile a list of songs that I think are a bit overplayed. Songs that I don't need to hear as much as they're being played. Actually, the list is entitled 5 Rock Songs I'm Tired of Hearing. Now, by today's standards, these are 5 cheesy songs that don't represent what today's mainstream rock is supposed to sound like. All right? So just, get that straight before we even start with the list. Here we go, folks. At number 5 is Hotel California by the Eagles, of course, or just Eagles, as they like to call themselves. First of all, it's an amazing album. Everybody knows this, and it's just kind of tragic how the one song has become the only song. New Kid in Town, yeah, it gets the occasional spin on your good, deeper, more variety sounding soft rock station. But what happened to Wasted Time? Wasted Time is just a classic, a Don Henley absolute tear-jerking classic of a song. In fact, I think Wasted Time is a prelude to Heart of the Matter, a song he did later on. Wasted Time, Heart of the Matter. Both are just these gut-wrenching, I don't know. It's just really great material. Try and Love Again. How about a little Randy Meisner on the radio? Nah, we don't want to put Randy on the radio. It's brilliant from start to finish. You pick a song and you play it, right? Victim of Love. Yeah, I used to get a few spins on rock stations. It's kind of vanished now. Life in the Fast Lane, that's the other obvious and kind of overplayed song. But Hotel, it's a brilliant song. I've heard it a lot. I could do without hearing it as much as I hear it. So in any event, number 5 is Hotel California. At number 4, I Want to Know What Love Is by Foreigner. Now, Lou Gramm and Mick Jones, I think they decided that things weren't going all that well for each other after this song came out, because this kind of redefined Foreigner. Now, it made Foreigner a lot of money, and I don't have a problem with that. In fact, I think you can have rockers and ballads. I'm just saying, if you're a fan of Foreigner, you can pick an album prior to 1990 and put a lot of those cuts on the radio, and people would be excited about it because you've got Lou Gramm singing, you got Mick Jones probably doing a lot of the writing, and obviously a whole bunch of arranging and production, and it's all really good. It's really, but the 2 songs like Hot Blooded and I Want to Know What Love Is. And thank you very much. Good night, everybody. That's Foreigner, right? Man, such a deep catalog. That first album, really the first 2 albums, from start to finish, most of those songs were getting FM radio airplay. And that's the difference between just looking at was on the Billboard charts and then doing focus testing. Do they like I Want to Know What Love Is? Maybe we should keep playing it. Yeah, they like it. Oh, let's play it some more. And it's like every time, it's an epic song. It's an emotional song. The choir in it it's amazing. I'm not saying it's not a great song. It's just way overplayed. And Foreigner has a big catalog, both with rockers and with ballads. So you choose. I know Lou Gramm was getting a little frustrated with the ballads. And you could play some Lou Gramm solo material as well. How about some Midnight Blue, right? Does anyone play Midnight Blue? It should be on the radio. I'm not expecting him to play like Ready or Not or something like that by Lou Gramm, but just there are a whole bunch of songs that are no longer played, and it would be nice to have a slightly larger playlist on most of these radio stations. At number 3, We Built This City by Starship. Now, I've defended this song because the media has come along and said, this is the worst song ever written. I'm just like, why? No, it isn't. If anything, it's overplayed because it's one of the better songs ever written. Seriously, what's wrong with this song? Because the lyrics don't make sense? When have lyrics had to make sense in a rock song? Like the early days of rock and roll, they're just spouting off syllables. They're not even like speaking in words. It's like going to a charismatic church, a bunch of people speaking in tongues, and then you're sitting there going, what do they just say? I don't know, but I like the music. It's got a good beat. And that was the essence of rock and roll. The lyrics weren't all that important. In fact, a lot of guys don't even know what the lyrics are to most songs. They just kind of pretend they know them. So in any event, I don't even think the lyrics are all that bad in Starship. Who's Marconi? Why is he playing the Mamba? I don't know, but it's a good song. Here's the point, though. It's overplayed. It's way overplayed, especially when you've got all these Starship songs or Jefferson Starship songs waiting in the wings, laying it on the line, baby. How about something like that? How about if you just like plain old Starship, It's Not Enough? I mean, that's just a brilliant song. That was after Grace Slick said she was too old to rock and roll, and so she quit. And so then Mickey Thomas and Donnie Baldwin got together and they had a bar fight, and then that was the end of Starship. But right before the end of Starship, 1989, It's Not Enough. And apparently it wasn't enough. It wasn't enough for the record label. It wasn't enough for, people today to acknowledge it. But there are other Jefferson Starship songs, Stranger, Find Your Way Back. There's No Way Out, which is brilliant. And if you dig in there a little bit more, you'll probably find a bunch of other songs that you could probably listen to and be happy with. In fact, the Knee Deep in the Hoopla album had a couple of songs that were released as singles after, and I can't remember the name of those songs. It's because they don't play them, so I've lost track of them. But yeah, top 40 airplay and rock radio airplay. Before You Go, I think, was one of them, or Before I Go. And it's a good song. That whole album is pretty well produced. It was kind of weird because they went from being, an AOR rock band to a top 40 band, but they made a lot more money doing the top 40 thing. And that's why Mickey Thomas is still out there playing, Epcot or whatever. So at number 2 on the list, after We Built This City, is Can't Fight This Feeling by REO Speedwagon. Oh, all right. Yeah, I'm getting a little tired of this particular track. Again, a band with a massive catalog. You could freak people out by playing like One Lonely Night on the radio. There are a bunch of songs that came out before Can't Fight This Feeling, after Can't Fight This Feeling. And the band still, they were on MTV. They were still, together and somewhat harmonious until the very end, where Kevin and the late, great Gary Richrath parted ways. Gary had some internal stuff he was obviously struggling with. And, Kevin says, I can't work with him anymore. And fittingly, the decade ends and they get a new lineup and they really don't go anywhere with this album. I think it was like a dog, a bird, a chicken. I can't remember the name of it, but they had one track get on rock stations, but that was kind of it for REO. They did a Bill Clinton album or something, Building the Bridge, I think it was called. But that was it. That was it for REO. But man, do they have a lot of great material that isn't on stations. In Your Letter, spectacular song. Anything off of the Good Trouble album, which was the follow-up and bookend to High Infidelity. In fact, if you look at the album covers, Kevin Cronin shows up and he's putting on a record album, and he looks like he's about to have a really good time. All right, that's that's the point of High Infidelity, right? And the name, not recommended for everybody, by the way. But then Good Trouble shows like the aftermath of what happened the night before, which I thought was really clever. Keep the Fire Burning, Baby. What a great song. It's nowhere to be found. Another track called Sweet Time ended up charting fairly well on Top 40. But for whatever reason, either the record label decided they weren't going to do much more for REO at that point. I'm not sure what happened on that, but those two albums, you know, if you had a 2-in-1 CD and you put High Infidelity and Good Trouble next to each other, they would be perfect together. I just the production value, the songwriting, and if you mixed it a little bit and put like one song here, one song, you know what I mean? It would be great. And somebody should do that. And you can make a playlist. You could go over to Spotify and put all the songs together. Yay. It's good old technology, folks. I just love it, huh? All right. So at number 1 on my list of 5 rock songs I'm tired of hearing, Don't Stop Believin'. By Journey, the most talked about band on this channel, which is really fitting that it would hit number 1. Look, do I like this song? Duh, of course I like this song. And when it comes on, there's part of me that's like, I can't believe this, because it's just so popular. And then there's another part of me that's just like, oh man, there are so many other songs that they could do this to. There just are. And I'm not saying Don't Stop Believin' doesn't check all the boxes and it's not an amazing song, because to argue that is kind of stupid. What I'm arguing is, come on, guys. Come on. Journey is a really good band. They've got a lot of other material. You want to freak Steve Perry fans out? Put on a song called Why Can't This Night Go On Forever? Yeah, Raised on Radio was the last single. It was like early 1987, I think, when they released it. And at that point, you know, nobody knew that Journey was about to like not be Journey anymore, and that Perry would go into seclusion and the fan club was not answering, you know, what was going on, because they had no idea what was going on at that moment. Yeah, and that song, I think if things were better with the record label and with Journey's situation, that was a number 1 song. I think it probably got into the top 30 somewhere, but it's a great song. It's a classic ballad that should probably be on radio stations right now, but it's not, because we're hearing Don't Stop Believin'. And other songs that I can recommend that would freak people out would be Stay a While off of Departure. And again, it's a great little 3-minute track with Steve Perry singing. It's like 2 minutes and 42 seconds, actually. Sorry. And more up-tempo stuff like Where Were You? And you know what? I've been listening to Freedom a lot. That's Journey's latest album. And why they didn't release Together We Run as the first single, it's criminal. It's mismanagement. I mean, it's a classic sort of heartland tale, which again would go very nicely with Don't Stop Believin', if people actually got to hear the song on the radio. And I understand it's Arnell, and Arnell does a fine job with the song. So go listen to Together We Run, and you have to admit, it's pure Journey. It sounds like Journey. Back in the day, it would have been on the radio, and it was completely ignored. So in any event, that's my top 5, the top 5 songs that I think I'm tired of hearing. I'm sure you have your own list. If you're over on Patreon and you'd like to contribute your own list, in fact, I encourage all the patrons. You guys want to come up with your own list over there and post them. It'll be very entertaining. But those are my top 5. Your top 5 might be similar. It might be different. By the way, if you want to join Patreon and get in on this, it's $1 a month, $2 a month. My income continues to crater here on the channel. I don't think there's anything I can do about it at this stage. I'm trying very hard to put out content each day. But if you'd like to support the channel, you can do so via Patreon or by YouTube memberships for $2.99 a month. All right, that's my video, and I will be back eventually. See you then.